testing is working when trying to accept a trade where either the seller or the buyer is missing some sort of associated token account. Use the get or create associated token account function, and that works because we have to do that. Otherwise, the program function just won't run because we're not able to pass in the correct account. So because this is local host, I'm developing locally, just as I did with my test. I need to create some dummy tokens. Right now I've just been working with X and Y, but I really need to create a couple more. So what I'm going to do is I have this setup store that I'm also been working with. Again, this is just setup. It's just the first part of like kind of getting the program going and the wallets supplied with some tokens. Normally this part is not really involved. So I'm thinking about just, rather than messing with the setup store, again, there's ways that I could probably consolidate this stuff all onto one big store object, but I think I'm gonna just keep it simple and create a couple of more stores specific for like say a Z mint store and a W mint store. Okay, nothing crazy. That way in our app, in the app, I'm using some stuff here, you know, like this is a lot of the setup stuff that I did in the test, you know, in the before hook where we're creating tokens and then creating ATAs and minting supplies to those ATAs. In this case, just like I've got the create Y, create X, it's actually performing the whole deal. Yeah, I feel like I can do the same. Yeah, so I'm gonna take this and copy this, and we're gonna call this create token W, and yeah, and it felt like, yeah, okay, I've got some token outside of create token methods. The idea is to stop recreating tokens. Yeah, so I'm gonna do the same here. So let's call these W, W. This will be Z and Z. Okay, and it's going to be the okay. Nothing too crazy. Here I have X, Y, Z, W. Move this up here. Can't find them. Yeah. And X mint. Okay, cleaning up some of this, creating some key pairs, and I only seem to do this for, I need to do, this is, you gotta do this for X, W, Z. This is not that big of a deal because this is just a check. If they've got the stores, great, grab them. If they don't, then I have it doing a get mint call. But I'll change this to Z. Okay. Not going to be not handle and change all these stuff, all this stuff. What I need to do is I need to create, I got to go through the motions here of this create token Y. I've got create token W. I'm going to keep this pretty simple, where the pair is going to be the that space is mint size, init mint account. We're talking about the W mint, and yeah, signature. We're gonna sign with the W mint key pair. I don't think I'm missing anything with that. Latest block hash. This is kind of an updated way of doing this confirmed transaction. There's a kind of a new signature where get the block hash signature confirmed, and then here is W mint account data get mint. Find the Y, change that to W, and then here we are, W and W and W. Okay. So, yeah. All right. That's the W. And now, oops, didn't. Now let's do the Z. The new account public key, and nothing's changing there. Same kind of thing. Create initialize mint instruction. This time we're doing the Z mint. Same 8 decimals. Oh, there it is. W to Z. Yeah, I feel like Z. That's all there is on that side. Change to Z, find the W. And last. Now this is clearly clearly it's possible that this goes badly. But here I've got I'm going to rename this to create let me rename this to create let's go back here. I just call this create all tokens. Create all tokens. Because that's what we're doing. Yeah. And then here, I know this is not best in terms of using await. I know it's, if you get a bunch of awaits, it's more performant if WX Y Z. So this ensures that the wallets have some tokens, some SOL, to be able to pay for the transactions and all the transactions required to mint and create these tokens. But anyway, I do know that like if you're doing await, it's better to really use the whole promise.all, like await a promise.all. But I'm not going to bother with that right now. Get X mint account. Why would I do that? Get Y mint. Well, not sure where I have this. But I'm going to keep it consistent and make sure that I've got all the right helpers for all of them. So this is for the W mint. This is just some setup, not fun, but the idea is obviously I want to be able to, I'm going to need more tokens to play around with, and this gives me the opportunity, just like with the test, that, I can use some of these tokens, mint some of these tokens to either the buyer or the seller and leave and not the other. And that way then they have like an ATA that needs to be created and checked for before they accept the trade. So create seller X token. All right, so this is where I've been doing this is what I did for creating creating the associated token accounts right away. Seller Y, buyer X, buyer Y. So here I just did them all. What I could do is here I'm setting up some details. It may just make sense rather than to completely refactor. It may just make sense to keep consistent and add some new fields to the setup store. But what I'm going to do is buyer Y. Hit W and Z. Oops, what was that? So if we were to replicate this, it would be something like create, like what I could do is create the buyer like W associated. The wall is the same. Yeah, this whole block. I need to change this whole block. Here, I believe I can do a search. Buyer Y, or maybe it's Y token for W token. And let's look at this. So buyer W. This is going to point to the W mint, and it's complaining that we don't have properties. Yeah, makes sense. Everything else is pretty standard. So what this means is that here, what does this mean? What this means is I'm going to do update. Okay. So, what the heck? Part of the setup, what I should do is give, what I could do is give the buyer W, and give the seller Z. Something like this. I don't know if I need to set up the buyer Z because I'm going to have to create it. I'm gonna have to create it. Same with the seller. So the seller, for example, the seller will have an out, the seller's out token. They will initialize an escrow with either X, Y, or Z, but the in token that they want will be W, for example, and so it will have to get created in the handler, and vice versa for the buyer. The buyer, for example, could initialize with a W and want a Z in return. That's the same kind of thing. Note, only creating, minting, seller Z and buyer W. Something like that. I feel like that would do it. Yeah. I don't think I need to add any more to this. But I may, as I get into it, I may realize like I need to go ahead and add the additional properties. So if I do, if we did seller, Y, and change that to Z, that would do that. And then let's do buyer X and change these to W. Feel like we're getting there. Yeah. And in fact, I can just take this whole 35 and yank all that out, and then go to 28 down, add some space just to make sure P, and I'm going to delete. That. Yeah. Okay. I feel like, yeah, I feel like that's it. May come back and add. Yeah. So back to here. This is, I did that right. Buyer W, seller Z. Yeah. Buyer W. Yeah. And then go up. Seller token WZ. Yeah. Okay. This is a to do and to do. Finish the setup for buyer W. That's what I'm going to have to do next. To be continued. I got to take a little break. But yeah. Just, there's a lot to do for setup. Obviously, to test this out on the front end requires a bit of some duplication. But, yeah, we're getting there. So we've got a couple more mints to work with. I can test out this whole not having the correct ATA on the front end. So let's see. We have the buyer W token. wmint store. Just cleaning up some stuff. Wmint, w token. So we're going to create the ATA up front for the for buyer W, and that looks okay so far. And seller Z. Let's work on seller Z. And we're not dealing with the W mint anymore. I'm working with the Z token. So yeah. Setup store. Oh yeah, we don't have a, should have a seller Z token ATA, yeah. And I'm keeping my setup store limited. I'm only, for now, I'm only adding the token accounts that are actually minting and creating ATAs for. I may go back and add like the seller W token details, but I think for now, I'm trying to just seller Z token mint. Yeah, this is the Z mint store. Who's going to pay for this? Transaction, setup store. Oh, we need the ATA, which is our seller Z T ATA. Yeah. The buyer. Well, this is not the buyer. This is actually going to be the seller wallet. And then the mint. Could have just used the store, but we've got it. Got it there. So find B. What? Go back. Let's see. We don't need all that. And then don't think there's anything there. Call. Just call and confirm. And that's that. Yeah. So seller token Z, buyer token W. Yeah. And here, create buyer, create seller. Buyer token W, yeah. Feel. And here. Token Z. Right? I mean, the idea is that we are yeah. So now this is minting supply. And obviously this is getting, just the setup code is absolutely ridiculous as it is. I've got quite a lot of lines of code just for handling this, you know, creating the custom program account, creating the actual tokens. Now we're creating 4 tokens, creating the ATAs, and minting supply of the tokens to those ATAs, yada yada. Like, that's a lot just for the setup. But it allows me from the front end to have a couple of wallets with some legitimate tokens and to work with to initialize the escrows. But there's a lot of code here that certainly needs to be, could just be all cut out and moved to a setup function, essentially, or setup file. So then it makes this a little easier to navigate, but for now, we're just going with it. So this is the mint token X and transfer to seller token X. Oh lordy, I've got helpers like doing all these mints. Yeah, and then I've got and I'm also using this get mint, get X mint account. So yeah, we're gonna have to do this for others as well. Boy, oh boy. All right, so let's see. Need a bit more because right now, yeah, let's do what's a handy way? So like I want to get this whole block from, so if I do visual select and then I go 40 down, yank. Not sure if that worked. No, it did not. So if I go 40 up and then I visual select and 40 down, then yank, well, that kind of works. It's pretty quick. We need to do this. So we need to mint supply to seller Z and buyer W. Yeah. So let's use this and bring that over. Mint. Boy, oh boy. Let's see. Back. All right. So let's do seller Z. So find Y mint token Z and transfer to buyer token. Let's do seller token Z associated token account. It's a long function name, but obviously I could probably do like some helpers where this could be a little more cleaned up, but we'll just go with it. So setup store. So okay, we've updating this stuff. So now we're doing the seller Z ATA. Yeah. We want the destination. Oh, that's the mint. I'm sorry. So this is the seller Z token mint. This is the seller Z token ATA. Just mint authority. Mint authority should be, I'm pretty darn sure when I said create token Z, who did I put as the authority? Minting authority, wallet, store. Okay. So in this case, it's going to be my Anchor wallet. So that's okay. I'm minting 3 tokens, 3 full tokens. They have 8 decimals, and here the I'm just grabbing the mint decimals from the actual store. Or I could just hard code it as I know it. But so that's that. Let's just get rid of some lines here. I've got all these comments above. I think having a copy of them up above is enough. Confirming the transaction. Now here we are going to get the Z. wait, and what does this function do? Z mint account data get mint, uses the store, sets the store. That's all it does. Okay. Could consider renaming that a little bit, like set Z mint store or something like that, but that works. So this is one. That's the seller Z. Now we need, now we need the mint. Now we need to mint token. So find Z and replace that with a W. Transfer to find capital S. Change to capital T. And now we're talking buyer here. Buyer token. C. Oops. Find C. Change to W. Associated token account. Feel as if we're good there. Now we're dealing with the setup stores, so now we're changing all this to the mint. So buyer token, or what is this? Buyer W token mint. Buyer W token ATA. Here's the mint authority, which will be, pretty sure it's the same. Create token. Yeah. Have all that. Not from the Z mint store, but instead the W mint store. Feel as if we're getting there. And then 18, not the Z, but instead the W. And make sure I have one of these, which should set up the W mint store. Yeah, there's a lot there. And now, mint all tokens and transfer to associated token accounts. All right, so again, this is, I need more practice, to be honest, on using multiple weights like this. I understand that this is not the best bit of code. Using multiple weights like this is incorrect. I really should, to do refactor. Problem is that these all call transactions, on-chain transactions. So I'm not sure if I can do that better, but so with this case, like we need to yeah, here I need to get the, not only to mint token X, mint token Y, we need to add some more to this. So what is this one? We've got mint token Z, yeah, for that. And for the buyer, mint token, the buyer is using W. Yeah. So we've got, so what's happening here is we are only minting the X token and the Z token to the seller wallet, and the Y token and the W token to the buyer's wallet. And then this will allow us to do some some trades. So get seller X. Do I have, what does this function do? Get seller X token account balance. I mean, that's all it does. It's just kind of making sure that we are getting updating the X token, or each token balance. Okay, so I really should do the same for these other tokens. So let me just copy one, and let's go to here. We'll do seller, go back, seller Z. Z. Yeah, I feel that should do it. Let's copy that. I'm gonna put it up here. Actually, I'll clean these up in just a second. This is not seller, but get buyer W. Oops, W token account balance. Yeah, buyer W. Buyer W token ATA. Yeah, and then the buyer W token balance. All right. So again, creating. This is a lot of repeating myself. There may be better ways to just refactor this and turn them into like one, helpful, add some parameters where we're passing in the token ATA and the store that we want to mess with, perhaps. But I'm not going to bother with that for now. So now that that's done, I need to go back to the, what was it? Mint all tokens. Yeah, here. So now after we do the mint and transfer, we're going to go through and get the balances. Await, get buyer W. And up here, await, get seller Z. Yeah. Go back up here. I want to move the 7 down. Seller. All right. Just moving those by themselves. Oops. All right. So yeah. Is this gonna work? Is this gonna work? How the heck am I gonna know? Let's see. So, okay. What I need to do is gonna clean up my logs for a second. Yeah. I realize that this is not, I'm told to get the mint stores here, but I'm actually not. That's plenty to do. Yeah, so I'm gonna, for now, I'm just going to turn off some of those logs, and I think what I'll do is copy this a couple times, and we'll do I'm gonna add a break in here. think I could go ahead and have these WW type of our W mint store and the Z mint store. And this is gonna bug me, but I'm gonna move this up here. So W, X, Y, and Z. Right now they're all null. Yeah. So, moment of truth. Let's go to our validator, close this down, rerun, rebuild, get some logs going just in case we encounter some simple errors. And now we need to, did it deploy? Yeah. I shouldn't have any issues with my testing, so I'm not going to bother with that. So let me go home and refresh. Just completely start fresh. Got my dev wallet going. Oh, looks like it's still connected. So count does not. Yeah, okay, it's just a log. First things first. I have to create this. Hang on. Let me. 1 second. Get this. All right. That looks good. And then let's see what else. Created the custom program. Let's create our token accounts now. Now we're creating, or the tokens. Now I'm creating 4. So that's 1 transaction, 2. This is my 3rd. It's popping up on another screen. This is my 4th. So far, so good. Okay. Looks like my stores, my token stores, are each getting a public key assigned. That's encouraging. Next, here it is, creating associated token accounts. It's going to be quite a bit more. 1, 2, this is 3, 4, 5, and 6. And it's not allowing me to. I've got another approve window on my in a different screen, but it's not allowing me to approve it. It's not allowing me to approve it. Strange. There may be, here it is. That's why it won't allow me to prove something is bugged out. So, error processing. Initialize. Program log, okay. System, okay. Log, create instruction, get serialized, initialize account 3. Success. And then here, error processing is provided seeds do not result in a valid address. Token program, tried to run a create. Associated address does not match seed derivation. All right, so there's a problem. I'm gonna hit cancel on this. And so it, yeah, user rejected request. There's an issue. All right, Good old Solana logs command. So maybe I may have to do this one token at a time, but let me see. So it was the create token command, yeah? Create associated address does not match the seed derivation. Okay. So that's my test, sorry. Bouncing all over the place. Okay, so let me move this over here. We have W mint, W key pair, Z mint, Z key pairs, yeah? And we're trying to do the create tokens. It's my you know what, so a handle, wait, it's the like create all tokens. I felt like we got through the create all tokens. It was the create ATAs, associated or all associated create seller X. I feel like it's going to be in here because we're doing the create tokens and yeah. And this is deriving. I'm just saying, so there's this get associated token account that derives a an address for us, and it was complaining about seeds and such, so I'm just curious. Is it there? Create buyer token X associated. Alright, so we've got buyer has X, Y, W. Seller has, we are creating the ATAs for them, but we're not necessarily minting supply. So create all buyer and seller. So I feel like this is yeah. So when we create ATAs, we're calling this function right here, and it got through like all of them, except for when I went to 6, the last one. And now I'm not sure, but I think this should work. So seller token Z. I'm going to go to seller token Z and just double check that. Yeah, and here's the problem. So we're using this get associated token account address method right here. An async version of get, yeah. However, yeah, you need the, like, where's it going to go? You need to provide the owner of the new account. Well, the owner of the new account is not going to be the buyer wallet, but the seller wallet. And that naturally would be a wrong seed for that kind of command. Yeah. So, do I see any other mistakes? I feel okay about it. Work after that. So what we're gonna have to do is let's go ahead and restart everything. Start from the top. I need to get the want to make sure that it all works correctly. Now, one thing that I'd like to look into is I do know that there is what's that? Yeah, we don't need to do that. I do know that there is, when you're doing like all these transactions and stuff here, there may be I know that there's probably like a way, I've got a question here, like send all transaction, like where you run through, like all of these transactions here, each function. Now I'm sending each of them like this one by one inside. But I'm also curious, like, if I just did the create, seller token Z ATA transaction, and I actually return the transaction, have them all just return a bunch of transactions, then maybe there's like some way to just process all the transactions in bulk like that. I'm not sure. As it stands, I have to do this whole deal where I need to get some SOL into the wallet and then go to my escrow program and start fresh. And I'm going to go ahead and clear this. Clear, not in terminal. And then let's do it. So go through the motions again. That's the custom program. Got our 4 tokens. And now doing the 6 transactions for the ATAs. I feel like that worked. I got all of them. Let me just double check I'm getting some data here. W, X, Y, Z. I don't have my ATAs displayed, but I guess if I opened up the seller or the setup store, each of the buyer X, like we should have some. Each ATA field should have a public key value, point to a public key value. So looks good. I'm just gonna check the logs. Oops. Check the logs. Yeah. No issues there. Looks good. Okay, so that's. All right. We officially have some tokens. Now, last but not least, let's mint supply for these tokens. Transaction 3 and transaction 4, because we are doing the mint. See, supply gets added to all of them. Yeah. Now, setup is officially complete. We've done the setup. So, yeah, looking good. Like a normal situation, the user would come in, hit this, and they would need to connect their wallet, so they wouldn't see all this junk behind for setup. So when I connect to a wallet, they'll have like a UI like this, where it shows, like a little swap form. And yeah, sure enough, I've got SOL, and then I have 3 mints, I've got 3 separate tokens in this wallet as the seller, and I think it's the seller X, Y, and Z token. So if I go here, and here, you saw like balance change. Yeah. So, yeah. Not bad. So we have the mint addresses for each of these tokens. So this is the setup. Setup seems to be working correctly. I think what I need to do is I want to be able to create an escrow, initialize an escrow. Say that I am going to done buyer W. Say that so the buyer should have W tokens, but the seller doesn't. So say the seller is going to use, we can use the Z. No, say that the seller, so the Z is this BRZ, but the seller wants W. I did not create an ATA for seller W. Doesn't have it, but they want that. So if I do the BRZ token, this is the Z token, and we're going to give up, say, 0.5, and the seller would like, I don't know, 0.8. Let's just do 1, whatever. 1 of the W mint. We hit initialize escrow. Seems to work. Okay. Handy. Yeah. So now if I come in here, this is the seller. They are wanting a full token of the W mint. Let's go back in here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change to a different wallet. I'm going to need to swap over to my Solflare, which is going to pop up. Yeah, let me get my login for this guy, and then we should be able to see what happens. If I log in here, this guy is going to have different 2H6F. Yeah, so the W mint is this 3VZ, and notice that this second wallet kind of represents during setup as the buyer. We mint that wallet some supply of this W mint. So if I come into here this guy is, they're going to pay obviously I could clean up this where it specifies like, token, specify the token, and its amount, along with, whatever, but we know that that's the case. Now, when I do this, I haven't changed anything. I haven't added the get or create. This is the point. I'm finally getting to the point where we need to start working on it. So if I click on accept this, type error, cannot read properties of undefined, pub key, handle, accept, trade, PDA. Yeah, it's not going to work, because what's happening here is what my guess is on line 289 is that for where's PDA? Is that here's the error. Yeah, we're trying to accept this, but I haven't added the, if they don't have it, create the ATA, because my hunch is that the buyer, or maybe it's the seller, maybe it's this one right here, like the seller in token, which is going to be that W mint, they don't have an ATA. So this is where I need to use the get or create. So nice. Let's do it. I think our setup is looking good. I think we've now correctly updated, and now we've got more tokens to work with, and some more ATAs, some wallets with an ATA, some certain tokens we have them, certain tokens we don't. So now it's time to essentially just add in the logic to get or create an associated token account, and that's what we'll do next. Been working on cleaning up this this index page, and what I've done is I've taken all this setup code used to create tokens, all the tokens. I've got all my notes and stuff and comments from earlier, all the tokens, creating the ATAs, and minting supply to my dev wallets, like all of that. I've put it all in this one big setup development function, and I moved this all to its own separate file as a helper, just because it was getting a little unwieldy to navigate. But counting my comments, there's quite a lot of code. It's almost like 1,000 lines. I've got a ton of comments in this, but it's just time to clean it up. So almost done with it. But one thing I did learn is that this is just a normal JavaScript file, like an external file. It's not a Svelte component. It's not a Svelte file. So that said, if you still want to reference and use and work with Svelte stores, you need to use this little get method that Svelte provides specifically for stores. And basically what it does is it just grabs that store at that time of execution, really. So this is handy. I can't, I need to use the get function instead of, so like here, when I was in index, the index component, this one, I could just do something like use the dollar symbol and wallet store dot public key, and that would reference the actual store value in the store. But because I'm in just a standalone JavaScript file, or I guess it's a TypeScript file, but it's the same. I have to, in order to do the equivalent, I have to use the get call. So I have to go get it, and it will grab it and use its value at that point in time in the code. So basically, I just moved all this stuff and just replaced all the direct calls, accessing the stores with the dollar symbol, the reactive symbol, and replaced it using get. And I ran it and it works, thankfully, after those changes. Now, one thing though, one thing I need to do, and I'm almost done with this cleanup, is it's kind of broken some of these like steps that I have here in the UI, so it doesn't really work anymore as like originally intended. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just clean up like I'm going to remove all these buttons as well as the steps. Like all this stuff can just go. And instead should look something like, we're getting there, but I've got this big setup button that runs and does all that for me. Now you'll see it probably later, but for now it makes me go through and sign and approve all those transactions. And at the end of the day, after it does it, it works. It mints the tokens, it mints supply, creates the tokens, mints supply, yada, yada, yada. So looks good. I do have some issues with my, if I ever like hard refresh my mint stores for each of the tokens, they kind of get wiped. It's because I'm not doing like a fresh fetch, so I may bother with that later. But for now, like it works. The setup does what it needs to do. And again, this is purely for development, for me to test this out on my own in the front end. So I figured better to just finally tuck this thing away because it clears up the need for all in one file. It's time to kind of clean that up a bit. So that said, what I need to do now is I need to create some escrows and add in the logic for accepting exchanges or escrows when the wallet or when either the seller side or the buyer side does not have a corresponding associated token account. So time to do that. And that the whole accept logic is in my escrow, the PDA route. So I'm going to move that over here. And in fact, you know what? I'm just going to close this down because that's something I need to do. So I need to let's see. I basically need to use the get or create associated token account. And so the accept becomes an option when the buyer, a potential buyer, clicks into the escrow, and then when they click accept, we're going to address it here. So the buyer out token, they have to have the out token in their wallet, otherwise they can't perform the exchange. They have to pay. So that should be okay. Like if they sort or find using the wallet token account store that I've got, they should be able to find a matching token. And if they don't, then they can't accept the escrow as intended. Yeah. So I feel as if that's okay. Now, here, update the users. What if it doesn't have the existing? Yeah. So this is the place to do it. So if what they're going to get, if they don't have it, they're going to do all this stuff. Like, if they've got it, great. If they have the matching token, awesome. However, here, I feel like if they don't have that, then we need to use else if, or really just else. Like if they don't have the match, then need to create the ATA using the get or create. So really, that's about it. So what we need to do is kind of like a try catch. So if for some reason we have to make this call, then I mean really it's just an await on it. So await, and then I believe this call comes from the connection, if I recall. So from the workspace, connection, get or create, or is this from the token? Let me see what it says. Does not exist on that. So maybe, forget exactly. It's probably, I mean, it's going to be on the token program. So let me see. Let's find this non-escrow, and then yeah, right here. Guess you can just do that. Okay. Alrighty. Well, so let's see if I can just call it. Yeah. And let's do here, what we can do is, I wonder if I can still just use the same variable, buyer in token account if rho equals that. Yeah. I mean, what is this one? I think I should be able to reuse the same variable because we're in different scope. And so what do we need? We need the connection. All right. Well, we have the workspace store connection. We need the payer of the transaction and the mint. So the payer in this case is going to be the wallet, the connected wallet. So I feel like I could just, I mean, it's the wallet, but I also have, I feel like I've got to check on whether or not I even have the wallet. So let's just keep it simple. Wallet store public key. It may complain. What's out the mint? Well, the mint for this in token account, the that we need to create, or get or create. Is going to be it's going to come from the escrow, yeah? Should come from the escrow, because we set the user in token mint. We got it from the escrow's out mint. So let's go back here, and we can actually use user store in token mint. This is the mint. This is the payer. And then last, it should be the owner. So who's going to be the owner of this? Of this account, which is going to be, like, do I use user store.wallet address? Maybe I can do that. Maybe I'll use the user store. I mean, really, because it should be the user, right? Oh. Okay, wait a minute. So here we're getting an argument of type public key is not assignable to parameter of type signer. So if it's a signer, this user store wallet address is literally just storing the public key, but we're actually signing the transaction. And in order to do that, we got to use the wallet adapter, which is actually our formal wallet store. So that answers that. And it says, maybe I don't need the public key. Maybe I just do wallet store. No. That's not right. Public key. This is reminding me of, what this may be. Not assignable. Null is not assignable to type signer. And I can't do as anchor.web3.signer. I don't think I can do that. Yeah. This is where it gets a little, this is bringing back memories for me. Let me see what my deal. So here, doing buyer. Buyer is actually a key pair. It's the payer. And there are some helpers, some functions like this one, or get mint, or maybe it's create mint. There are certain functions that are not, they're accessible when I'm writing a test. Sorry. They're acceptable when writing a test. I can use them when writing a simple test back in the Anchor test file. But when I actually bring it to the front end, you don't have access to them. You can't just use this directly. And I have to be honest, I'm not 100% sure why. Here's the setup development. I've got examples of important using built-in create mint will fail because anchor signer clashes, have to build manually. Because I've done a lot of troubleshooting with this. Certain built-in methods that they provide require the whole signer thing, and I just don't have them. That's ultimately what it kind of comes down to. I'm sorry, bouncing around. Here, the payer of the transaction is of type Anchor Web3 signer. But this signer type, I don't think you can use it in the front end when you're using the wallet adapter. When you're doing it from your test, then then you can, like, because you have access, because you can just generate like a key pair, and use that and pass that as like the payer, and which is also kind of like the signer. But really, when you're on the front end, you're having to use the wallet adapter, which doesn't have, my understanding, doesn't really have access to, you won't have access to the key pair on the front end, because that would be a big like security vulnerability. Like that's basically giving access, or getting, getting access to all the key pairs of all the wallets. So Phantom and others, like that's part of like, that's not available, obviously. Otherwise no one would use those wallets, because that's like your private key is, and all that is with it. So this rings a bell, is what I'm getting at. And I don't think there's many ways you can, like I've shown, like I can't do, I don't even know what other properties we have on here. I go to wallet store. Again, this is from this is kind of like the Svelte on Solana wallet adapter package that I'm using. And it has some stuff that, I mean, it's basically, wrapped around and using the built-in wallet adapter that is provided by Solana. Yeah, like, yeah, there's like a type wallet interface. It's got the adapter and it's ready state, and yeah, this is ringing a bell. So, what this means is that I need to try to build this manually. I'm pretty darn sure, because I can't pass it like that, and I can't pass like wallet. It's yeah. So public key. Yeah. So this is not gonna work quite as easily, and I can save a little bit of time because I've been there, done that, and I kind of I recall like this is not gonna work. So you have to do it manually, which this get or create associated token account is really performing two steps. It's trying to get a associated token account. So first kind of gets the address, and then it goes through the whole create, which the docs, the cookbook, and what else we got? Yeah, from key pair, but I won't have the key pair. The front end has a wallet adapter. Like, you don't have this. Unless I'm just inside app TS under your import statement, declare your RPC and establish. I mean, like, from key pair from secret key. Yeah, like you're having to like provide the secret key so then you can get the key pair, but then, but we're not doing that. We're hooking it up using the wallet adapter package, so we don't have access to this key pair. So that means we have to build it a bit differently. And where did I see that? This is wrapping soul. That's a whole different thing. Get or create. Yeah. I mean, this is like the formal code, official code to do this. Create associated token account instruction. Yeah, like it does all this stuff. So, all right, well, I have done this before with, I'm going to go to the setup development file that I created, and I have the get associated token. So like, I'm going to use this as an example. So I can do like const, let's do the buyer in token. Just see what we can get. So then it's this await get associated token address, and we got to pass it the mint. Well, the mint is coming from the user store dot in token mint. And then the wallet, which will come from wallet store dot public key. Yeah, and here, just typing, giving it a type. So this would give us that, and then now we have a token account, and then we need to build the transaction. So it's the exact same kind of thing, where const tx equals new, and just kind of following what they have here. So new transaction, add, and then yeah, they create associated token account instruction, because we're not actually doing the creating of the account just yet. We got to do the instruction, then we send the construction, or the instruction, send the transaction and confirm it all. So the transaction has a bunch of instructions. So let's do the, well, the payer for this is going to be the wallet store. Okay. And then probably is going to be a type issue. Might as well go ahead. And then the, what else does it have us? Associated token, the payer, the new associated token. So the address, I wonder if I should, call this like address, and then we can do here buyer in token address, and what else comes? Owner, mint, and program ID. Owner of this will be the wallet. I could also say the user store dot wallet address. I think that would do. And the mint, right? Yeah. So what's the token mint? Well, we have that stored in the user store, which comes from the escrow as the user store in token mint. Yeah. Feel. Cannot find name transaction. Huh. should be available. It's going to come from, is it from SPL token? Oh, it's from Web3. Should work. And then, so yeah, we have that. And then after we do that, we need to get the signature. We have to send and confirm it all. So one way that I have learned to do this is just for making sure it works. I've had better success actually adding these steps along the way, like these temporary variables like signature, where I do await, and then use the wallet to send transaction, and it takes in the transaction and the connection. That's really it, I believe. Yeah. And then latest block hash. So this will go through the whole bit. So using the workspace, using the connection, has the get latest block hash, and I don't think there's a yeah. And then there's the confirmed transaction. That's using the same thing. The connection workspace connection has a confirm transaction, which takes in a few confirm transaction, takes in a strategy. It's like block height based transaction, commitment level, yada yada yada. There's so the block height or block hash. Oh, it's an object. Block hash, yeah. And it's a string, and that we get that from the latest block hash dot block hash. And then last, valid block height is another property on this object. And we get it from the, again, the latest block hash. And there's the height. And then last, the signature property. We pass it our signature. Yeah. And I guess we can console. Yeah, something like that. This is what's worked best for me in the past. To do this sort of thing. So my understanding is, like, we're gonna try to do that. Otherwise, let's catch this error and console log the error. Very basic for now, but yeah. So what does this do? Kind of looking at it from the top. So come in as the buyer, and we try to accept the transaction, accept the escrow. So they click on that, and we set as many properties of the user store as we can as it relates to that particular escrow and the connected wallet. We grab some values out of the from the wallet store and the escrow store, and slowly but surely we build up this user store with data. We then, for the out token, what the user is going to be paying, they already have it in the connected wallet. Like, basically, I may need to add some other additional check, but like if they don't have it, then they're not going to be able to accept the transaction. So we need to like check that they have the correct mint, the token, and they have enough. But let's just assume it does a check. It looks in their wallet, and it's got a matching token. We grab it. Probably need to consider the else scenario, but basically they get the matching token, and that again we're just setting these user store values as we go for all the out token details. Then for the in token, this is where the buyer potentially does not have the ATA, so they're exchanging for like an NFT or something, for the first time. They don't have it, so they need here it's going to check if it's like a SPL token, just a normal token. Then they'll check their wallet and see if they find anything. If so, great. We do the same thing that we did up above for the out token, but if they don't, then we need to this is essentially us implementing so this is very similar to like what I did in the past. So sometimes you have to do a little bit more manual when you're dealing with working with a wallet adapter, and not just key pairs, generated key pairs that you have for testing purposes. So let's say everything goes through, they get the transaction, yada yada yada. If they are able to build and create that, then maybe the last thing I need to do is actually get get the actual data. Yeah. So like thinking like this could all happen, but after we create the ATA, I need to fetch the account and set or update user store. So here we need to get the here I feel like I can maybe reuse the buyer in token account info and do the await get what should I get account, I guess. Auto import retrieve information about a token account. Okay, yeah. So I feel like this should work. In here I need the connection, which is going to come from there. the token account, so the ATA, which we just did, if all goes well, which is the buyer in token address, yeah. And what else do we need? Oh, it's out of, let's see, it's out of the scope. If I do let buyer in token address, is there a type for that? What does this return? Prompts contain the address. It's going to return a public key, I'm guessing. So do something like this. And then we're going back here. Yeah, we still have stuff to do, so it is a public key. What if I set it up here? Before it's assigned, what do you mean? It's used before it's assigned. Maybe I just, it didn't complain there, right? Okay, getting some typing issues. Account pub, it's missing. What other? Token commitment desired level. I don't have like any. Don't think there's. That's optional. And the program ID, which is the token or the yeah. Okay, maybe it's not get account. What am I missing here? Let's see. I've got get mint. That's just the mint. What do I need? So like what fields do I need to get out of this thing? I've got to update the we got all this in token ATA, in token balances. Yeah. The decimals. I need all these details. Ah, crap. Is it, I feel like what am I missing? I shouldn't be this. Just getting how to create, how to get a token account, how to get a token's balance. Just, yeah, okay, it was just get account and connection. So why is this not Working. It needs a connection and the ATA, the token account. Missing the following properties from type account. This is a token account can only hold one kind of mint. When you specify a token account, you also oh, okay. So one yeah, like this is like the full account when we use get account, but if we use the get account balance, it shows that you have like amounts and decimals and stuff like that. So I'm not entirely sure why that's not. What is it about my types that it does not like? You know, send and confirm the transaction, account info, get account, await, get account, a connection, and the ATA address. The heck? What have I done? Maybe I shouldn't be trying to use the same. I mean, what if I yeah, something about my types trying to do it here. This is setting it up as a different interface or type that it does not like. It doesn't like me messing with that. Here's the buyer out, buyer in. Now I'm curious if I were to do buyer in. Now this is like a, and then I'm not sure, but this is like really a TypeScript thing. Yeah, this is a typing thing. So if I initialize it right here as just, it's going to be something as type any. And then we try to do this and it comes through. If we've got it, great. Then it's kind of this type. However, if not, if they don't have it, if we can't get it out of the wallet, like it's not already there, then I can do some stuff like this where I'm getting the address, which is a public key, really. I'm using this. Probably could be more explicit as anchor.web3.public key. And then down here, since we didn't find it up above, we're reusing it, and now we're getting an account, and it resets it as a type account, and everyone is happy. Yeah, I feel like that's kind of what we're at. So, yeah, I feel like that's that. So now what I can do is finally time to like update these values, which what the heck was I doing over here? Oh, this is the, close that one down. Let's split this and refresh my memory as to the fields that I need to get. So if that comes through, great. Now let's start setting user store dot in token ATA equals, you guessed it, buyer and count and info dot, well, what is it? It's going to be the address. Yeah. Remember, because we're dealing with like a type account versus account info. So it's a little slightly different. So I think that would work. Let's get the user store in token raw balance. You know what? Let me just see. I want to like console log. It's a lot of logic to this. Not a lot, but like it's just curious to see what it looks like. I mean, they have like a over here. They give you a sense of what you're gonna get, type account. So I have all these properties. So the address will give me that. The balance, it's going to be the amount. And do I have? Oh, crap. I have to get the mint. Also, I wonder if maybe I should instead, can I use get account or get account, or was it get token account balance? Yeah. Because like we're a little limited here. So this is going to give me the, if I've got this right, so buyer and token account info. I'm not seeing, like, I can get an amount, which I believe it will give me a raw amount, perhaps, but I don't have the decimals, right? Like I still need like more details from this. Whereas the get token balance seems to maybe something a little bit more. So let me try this instead. I'm going to comment this out. And we're going to just do this again. Buyer in token account info equals await get token account balance. Yeah? Yeah. Get token account balance. And what do we need? Well, just the token account. Oh, that's easy. Which is, in our case, the buyer in token address field. Yeah? Shouldn't that work? Cannot find name get token account balance. Oh, yeah, because we've got to use it off the connection. I'm sorry. So, workspace store dot connection dot. Yeah. And type. Okay, so we have to cast it as anchor.13. And finally, no complaints. Yeah. So if that's the case, then it's not going to be. Oh man, it's not. Yeah, what the heck does this one have for me? Value. Aha. See, this helps. I can get some stuff out of this. Yeah. So UI amount in token ATA. Okay, let's start this over. In token ATA is actually, I already have it. It's the buyer in token account address, or in token address. Yeah, as let's go ahead and. Okay, we have that. Now, raw balance. That is going to come from the buyer in token account info dot value. Now, the raw balance is going to be the, I believe it's going to be the amount, because UI amount is usually for and what's the type string, right? Raw amount of tokens as string, ignoring decimals. Perfect. So what I need to do is parse int, because I need this to be an int, which is something I did up here. Yeah, so like if it's in the wallet, I'm able to go account, data, parsed, info, token amount, but I'm parse inting the whole thing. So that gives me that. Another field that I need to get is the in token balance, not just the raw one, but this one is coming from the buyer in token account info, value, and this one should come from the UI amount. Nothing fancy there. User store. Now we need decimals. So in token decimals. Yeah. And here we do what exactly? We get it. Same thing. Buyer in token account info, value, and then this one we just have it right here. It's type number. And now what? So the balance. Okay. we've already set some fields on this user store. Starting at the very top from the escrow, we grab the wallet address of the connected wallet and the what else we got? We got the out token mint for the buyer and the in token mint for the buyer. This is all coming from the escrow info. Now, one thing that we have to do is this part right here, probably, where like I was having some issues earlier, I don't recall, but it was like some type issue, like the object is possibly null errors popping up. So now I have the balance. So this is, again, balance for the user store. From my thinking is this is what the user actually has of the token. Now, in this scenario, they won't really have anything. We've just created this ATA for this particular token, for this particular mint. So, like, they really, raw balance and balance both should be like 0. Now, token decimals, we need that. But the amount is still to be computed, meaning like the amount is aligns with how much is the user supposed to or is expecting to receive in that token after they accept the escrow. So I don't know if I can do user store in token amount right away. Oh, I don't know. I mean, in that detail again is coming from the escrow store. So escrow store dot not the PDA itself, but the escrow, and then we have because it's the buy, like the seller's out amount. Yeah, which would be like a small value, like 0.8 or 1.3, or maybe 15. I don't know, but like it's kind of the UI amount that the seller will input into the input box over here. So that'll be small, but I need the amounts, the token amounts needs to be a raw amount. They can't be decimal. I can't get it in decimal format because it's this value that's actually going to be passed into the program transaction, like when they're doing like exchanges and all that, and that is actually of type BN. So we got to use the raw amounts, like the whole number values. So what I've done here, this is a string apparently. So then I've got this to number, and yeah, then I divided it by 10 to the decimals for that token. So user store in token decimals, and that does that. It's not complaining this time around, so that's cool. And then last, the user store in token amount, in token raw amount. This is just straight up the above, but just the I don't have to do any division. I just do, it's the escrow store dot escrow dot out amount what did I do? How did I do this? Getting a little fatigued here, so just a simple okay, that's right. Yeah, and okay, see, there's a bit to keep up with. The user puts in like 1.2, but behind the scenes, what's actually passed to the create or initialize escrow function is the raw amount. So this out amount is already kind of raw. It's already a large number, and that hence why I'm doing this whole division by the number of, with its decimals and stuff. So here it's already in the raw format because I've done that from the other side of it, from the initialization of the escrow. So here it's just simply converting this to number. Gotcha. Oof. All right. So yeah. So this should I think the question up here, use account, or I feel like answer use get token account balance as it has decimals. So along with a couple other properties, but it has decimals for sure. Yeah, I think maybe even more, but that's seems to be okay. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that. Now, if they don't have the ATA, then we're going to create it. We're going to try to create it. After we, hopefully get through that, then we go and fetch the account info. And take that info and update the user store with it. Okay. Then yeah. Let's see. I could console. I'm not going to. I feel like I've got enough logs of user store and stuff happening. I can poke around and see if needed. And then, all right. So that's the user store. That's the scenario when the buyer does not have the in token ATA and they're trying to accept. So I feel like it's time to experiment. So let me do this. Let's test this out. I'm gonna I didn't mean to shut down. Darn it. Oh well, it's not that big of a deal. And I'm gonna do some logs going because I'm sure we're gonna need them. And now, after we do this, probably have to make sure I get some Sol into this dev wallet. Go over here and bear with me for a second. It's not gonna look as good, but I'm gonna just run this big old setup, which will have me. It's got quite a lot of transactions popping up to do everything. Creating the custom program account, creating tokens, creating ATAs for certain tokens, because I want to do just this. I want to test scenarios where certain ATAs are missing, and we can still execute the exchange. So goes through, everything went through, no errors on the setup. Yay. Obviously I can get rid of this eventually, but just like normal, program's running, a user will come in, I'm gonna disconnect, and they'll come in and they will connect their wallet, and it will do something like this. It does a quick fetch of all their token accounts, and here we are. 3, 3, and 0. So like the seller does not have that. One scenario that I have is the buyer does not have the Z token. It has the W token. So, but it doesn't have the Z. So in this case, if I'm going to simulate that, it would be like the buyer's in token will be a Z token. So let's use the Z token, which is WXYZ. It's this 4TV token. So if I go to 4TV, my seller has 3 of them. And let's do like 0.4 is what the seller's, that's going to be the out token, which will be the in token for the buyer. Okay, and let's do just a simple, like, let's go for the X token, since they both have this token. So the, so, and in exchange they want, let's say, 1 X token. So the seller's out is going to be the Z, and what it wants in is more X. So I hit initialize the escrow, hit accept. Great. Looking good. No errors. So far we're happy. Yeah. Now, I don't know if this like updates. It did 4TV because it's sent it over to the escrow. This is good. I'm gonna have to play around with the UI, obviously, some more. But if I go here, or maybe if I just disconnect here, change to a different wallet, and it's gonna do Solflare. Oh, got to put in my Solflare. Let's do this. Okay. We've connected, again, and now click into the escrow. It's got its own individual escrow PDA route. This is from a buyer. They can't cancel, so that's not visible. The out amount of the Z token is this, and this is all kind of from the seller's point of view. So obviously I can clear this up, clarify this a little bit, like which tokens we're dealing with, and the seller paid this amount in the Z token. I can do better with my labels, but for now, let's see. When I hit accept, does this actually handle accept trade correctly after all these changes? Moment of truth. Ooh. Interesting. It's making me as the buyer pay some SOL, maybe for the ATA account creation. Hit that. Okay, that popped up. Can't see it on, but basically it's popped up another signed transaction pop up by Solflare, but it says transaction simulation failed to simulate transaction on mainnet. even though I'm not on mainnet. So let's hit approve. And hey, it went through. Hang on. No, it didn't. Error, raw transaction. Here's the transaction. Failed. Error instruction error 0 custom. Yeah. Okay. So it did not work on our first try. It's all good. But I mean, we're getting somewhere. So this is coming from the handle accept trade. Tries to do the whole send and confirm. Send and confirm raw transaction, and we're picking up an error. Okay. Picking up an error. So what is this saying? Like at a PDA 292. Yeah, okay. So that it got here and it died. And it died. Now let's see. Just looking at my logs here before I look at the Solana logs. Buyer out token account found. Great. And it sets some values. Great. Now there's a signature. It's a confirmed transaction. Great. Buyer in token account info after creating ATA. So this is showing that correctly it had to jump in and do this part of our code that we just wrote. Okay. Right. And so it at least showed like after creating the ATA. So it made it all the way through here. No errors here. We have a confirmed transaction. We're able to do that, and then I feel like it looks like we've got some data. Yeah, all zeros because they don't have any. So this was good. It was able to do that. And then this is this line, the user store before sending. Good. See what we've got. So, I mean, not terrible. So, I think I'm just looking first and foremost, like everything should have a value. Everything should be updated. Raw in token raw balance makes sense. Doesn't have any. Out token amount, they got to pay one full of that X token out. Out token balance. That's curious. Out token balance. Why doesn't it have any X? Why is that 0? You know what I mean? Like that should be out token balance. That's what the user, the amount is what they need to pay, but they should have on this out token balance. Shouldn't that have been addressed up here? Do they not have the X token? Strange. Hang on. Let me go back here. What is the X token is the 5EK. Yeah? Ah. Why does it have 0? I thought my setup was doing everything the same. That would clearly... Alright, so it has... So wait, so this is saying the buyer has... maybe something is up with my setup. Maybe I'm actually not minting supply to all the correct ATAs as like I thought, and need to do a little bit more testing there. But I'm pretty happy so far. It looks like it's made it through, like recognize that it didn't have an ATA, and it was able to go through and create that ATA and fetch its balance and everything without any problems. So that's encouraging. Now, this is showing 8Z3. That's the W mint. CN is the Y. And 5E. That should... I feel like for some reason... I'm gonna just make a note, like, as a fix me, make sure buyer is getting is minted Y tokens set up. I know this is like a different file and stuff, but yeah, right? Like I feel, oh crap, I refreshed it, and now I've got like something happen. Okay. 5E. Alright, that's still 0. Alright, so this guy now has like, it has the ATA. I see what happened. So what was the Z token? 4TV. It did not have 4TV earlier. And we've created an associated token account in this wallet. So that is cool. That means it's working on that end. Like that part of it is working. The transfer obviously like failed up here, like did not work because the probably like you know the check of like doesn't have any balance, like the token accounts don't match, and so it's going to it's unable to like handle this transaction correctly. That's what I'm thinking. So encouraging news is that it looks as if it actually did go through and create the ATA for that. Now I could reset and try and like confirm the tokens again and try to perform an exchange. Yeah, I need to do that. But I also need to address this issue as to why my what's up with my setup? Why am I not minting supply of the X mint to the buyer as well? Like oh, you know what? Actually, now that I think about it, I created the X ATA for the buyer, but I didn't actually mint supply to all of them, but it has the ATA. Yeah, that's what it is. I get it. So what I mean is, let me show you. If I do the setup development, let's put this in, and if I do the setup. Like here, handle, create custom programs, the program, yeah. Create all the tokens, create all the ATAs, and mint. Let's go to the mint. Here I am. I'm actually only minting 2 tokens to the wallet. So, for example, X and Z, I'm minting supply to the seller. Y and W, I'm minting supply to the buyer. But I'm not actually, when it comes to creating ATAs, I've actually created 3. So, okay, let me think about this. What the heck do I need to do then? If my so how could I simulate and just double check that like I can accept without an ATA? I'm pretty sure we're close to it. So if I, as a seller, let's say pay in Z, totally fine. And in return, not X, but receive Y. So I need a Z and Y setup. So they pay in Z, and the seller is asking for Y token in return. That would be the case. I can't ask for X token in return because my buyer will have an X token ATA, but they won't have actually any X tokens in their wallet. Okay, let's try this crap one more time. So if I go back over here, I think we can still simulate this. If I go different wallet, Phantom. Now, let's go back here. You know, what did I say? I'm going to pay in Z. So find the Z token for TV. Oh crap, I've already created the damn ATA for the buyer. I need to restart. I got to restart it because it's just not going to, like, the whole point is to do this from scratch without any without having the ATA present. I've already have created the ATA. So I know this is most likely going to work, but let's do it from the start. So airdrop successful, throw some transactions, creating ATAs and tokens, yada, yada, yada. Tell you though, wrapping all this into one just helper function is nice. Definitely ways I probably could handle multiple transactions more efficiently, especially with all this await calls. I know that's not good practice, but I'd have to rebuild my functions to just return like promises of instructions or transact, and then yeah, I'd have to tweak some stuff. So all right, we've created all this stuff. Go over here. We have some tokens, new tokens created. Yay. Okay. Now again, the scenario is pay Z H23. Perfect. We will pay out 0.4 again. This time we want Y because the buyer has been minted supply of Y, so we won't encounter any of those issues. And this time in exchange, let's just keep it simple. We want one. We want one Y token in exchange for 0.4 of the Z token. Let's initialize. Yeah, good. Feel like that's okay. I'm going to disconnect to the buyer. And whenever I do that, certain things like the X mint stuff is not You know, the UI I know needs to get updated. But let's go to this particular escrow. All right, we have a whole new escrow. Same scenario. This time, the token is the Y token. This one is the Z token. This is the, this is the Z token, which this buyer does not have an ATA for yet. This buyer is going to pay Y token, this amount in Y token. And that, my friends, should do it. So I'm going to just do a little, here we go. Let's get lucky. Ah, crap. I like the security, but gotta do it again. All right, so look, paying for this. My hunch is this is the ATA that it's creating, so it's a little bit of a charge for the fees, the rent involved of creating this associated token account. This is gonna work. I now have a signed transaction. It's on a different screen. I'm not gonna toggle it over basically, but it's showing a sold transaction fee -1 of one token plus 0.4 of another. Hit approve, and bingo. Yeah, baby. Look at that, transaction successful. Now, if I go back, don't know if this will update at all, but I now have a new token, which the Z was what? It was the H23. Yeah, look, H23. Select the Z token. I now have, this represents the balance for this user, 0.4. This escrow is now false. It's not active, and it has exchanged. Yeah, looking good, looking real good. So, we did it. Now, what needs to happen next is, this is what's next. This, my friends, is what's next. We got to worry about the flip side of it. So this could be, we're going to have to add some more logic. Yeah, man. So as soon as we hit that, definitely have to make sure that we have like an escrow account to work with. Sorry about that. And then if we don't have an escrow store in any escrow data, then something's wrong, like it didn't work. But essentially, we set what we can. We try to get all the out token and in token stuff from the buyer's point of view. What we have to do next is probably quite similar. To some overlap for sure, because I need to be able to get the, in this case, I really only need the seller's in token ATA. And I need to probably pay for that, which will involve something very similar to here, to this stuff right here. Now, again, this was us basically manually doing what the get or create associated token account helper function does for us. But because we don't have the signer from the front end, the signer type, can't use it like that. We have to build it. We have to build it up in a different way. And thank goodness for the cookbook for some of these snippets to follow along with. But hey, I'm pretty happy with all this. So this is not an issue. The buyer was getting tokens, or not getting tokens, but that was as intended. So next, get or create association for seller in token ATA. Obviously I won't be able to use this function, but that would be, I know what I mean. So, all right, to be continued. Gotta handle the in token account for the seller. So currently, as I have for setup, is that we are minting to the seller. We're gonna have to involve the W token. So, let's say the seller wants I just did it with the seller wanting the spending the Z token and wanting the Y token in return. What we need to do now is I'm actually going to swap back over to the my original seller. We have a few tokens here. What it does not have, though, is the seller should not have a W mint, if I've got this right. So 6PE, yeah, there's no ATA for the W. Yeah. So what the seller wants is the W token and what else? Let's say it doesn't so much matter on this case. Let's say the seller is going to pay X. So the seller's going to pay X because it has X tokens in exchange for some W tokens, which the buyer will have. Okay, so let's do X mint is HY. Okay, and the seller's going to pay, say, 0.5 X mint in exchange for, let's do 0.8 W. Okay, and should be able to prove all this. And now we have a second escrow number 2. I know this is all ugly, but bear with me on this. So now the issue here, the scenario here is, let me go back. I could do it right here, but I'm going to go ahead and connect to the Solflare wallet. I may have to do my password again. Yeah. It's been a while. Hold up. And let's get this. Okay. All right. So this is the buyer, escrow 2. What we have here is sellers paying X, I believe, and they want 0.8 of the W token. This should not work because I haven't added any sort of logic. You know what? Before I do that, we've just done all the bit of logic for the buyer in token, but now we need the seller in token, and this is where we're at. So if it doesn't have it, I'm going to gotta create the ATA. So what are we doing here? We get the seller in token, seller up here. Yeah, okay. So one IDM, how to get the ATA address. Get parsed token account based off of the mint right here. Yeah, so this very similar to, I'm gonna kind of approach this similarly to what I did up here with the buyer. Here we have the escrow in mint, so we have the mint address of the token of the that the seller is wanting. But this really needs to be in a sort of try. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to update this part, because this certainly, it's been working so far, because I know I've got the ATAs and whatnot initially, but I'm going to take all this and I'm going to move it up here. 15 down, move that in, and we'll console log. Obviously we got to do better. Got to do better, but what I'm going to do is 24. And we're going to do the seller in token. Info. We're just going to initialize it up here. Okay. And I could approach it similarly where this kind of okay, I could do that similarly. So I could where I grab it up here. See, will that work? 8 down, move it over. No. So it tries to get that. Now how did I do this? Yeah. Trying to think of like what's the best way. Like, I mean, the scenario is if what's wrong with my keyboard? Seller. Oh, my keyboard's being, hang on. Seller in token. So if we've got it, then simple enough. Just like we've done in the past. The set it as such. So if they've got it, great. It's an array because this get parsed tokens, I'm sorry, by token accounts by owner. This is all going to return a fetch parsed token accounts owned by this specified account. And we're filtering it because we've got the wallet. which again, the seller is the authority on the original escrow, their wallet is, and then the in mint that they're expecting. So if they find it, great. We can get that array, and then we can get some values from it. Very helpful. Now, hang on. What happens here? Seller in token ATA. Yeah. Could do this. Let's seller in token ATA. And then down here, just grab it. And that would have that. Now, else, like if we, you know, the scenario where the seller doesn't have the in token, doesn't have an in token ATA. It's like basically no in mint in wallet. Okay, so in this case, we got to create it, and to create that, we're gonna use the try catch. Because, I mean, I may even need to do, I think this 23 up here, like this line, this get parse tokens. I don't know if I need to do a try catch. Worst case, there's nothing there. But I certainly need to do a check here. Because if it doesn't come back, it doesn't come back. And now, in here, we need to do, well, what we did previously. So I could do try, and I can set the, you know what else? Move this in one more. Seller in token ATA. And what did we get? We have the is it the get token balance? Or no. This is the this is the get associated token address, right? Forget, like they come from so many. Oh, it doesn't. It comes straight from seller and token ATA. We've already imported this. That's right. And then formatting is looking a little janky, but we need the mint that we're working with. So in this case, it's the escrow store dot escrow dot in mint, because that's what the seller is wanting. And then again, the wallet, well, it's not going to be the wallet store in this case because it's the we're talking about the seller. So the buyer is accepting this escrow, but we need to fill in the details. We need to get the seller's in token associated account. So thankfully that stuff is stored in our escrow as the escrow.authority, which should be of type public key. I'm not, see if I can format some stuff. Yeah. And now we're trying to get this ATA, get the address, and now we actually need to create the, you know what, maybe I should do a temporary, yeah, just keep it consistent. So let's do a let seller in token address outside of the try. We'll do this here, seller in token address. No, it's a bit redundant. But then we go ahead and do our transaction. So derive an address based off of the mint and the wallet, so we can get a public key. But we need to send a new transaction, manually create it. Yeah. And what are we doing? We're creating a whole new instruction. So create associated token account instruction. We got it. And then here, what's the first one? The payer. Payer's got to be the wallet store, like public key. As anchor, I guess we have to do this again because it could be null. That's right. It could be null. We need the ATA address, which we've just derived using that. So now we can use the seller in token spacing address. Yeah, that should be, I mean, it should be pretty clear. It's a pub key. Yeah. So, and then what's missing? The owner of this new account. Well, that's going to be the seller's wallet, which we have thanks to the escrow store. Escrow authority. Yeah. And then the actual mint, which again is the we don't derive it from the user store because the user store again is the buyer. So in this case, it's still the thanks to the escrow, we can grab the what it would be. It would be the in token. It should be this the in mint. Pretty darn sure that's right. Token mint. And I don't think we need to supply like the token program and stuff like that. I think we're good. So just as before, I'm going to do const signature, and this is going to await our wallet to sign send the transaction, and it needs a connection thanks to our workspace. This is all I mean, the bulk of this work is the wallet adapter and the this helpful Svelte package that's kind of replicates Anchor's workspace and provider and all that stuff on the front end as well, not just for testing. So super cool. So const latest block hash, and we're gonna use our connection to do the get latest block hash. Yeah, and then let's confirm. Let's get the confirmed transaction. And again, the reason why I'm doing all of these steps, I'm just having gone through some prior stuff. I found some examples where this, oh, that's right, it's an object. I always forget. Go back. What am I doing? Here, it's an object with some properties. Block hash, which is a string. Last validated block height. We get that from the latest block hash. This is just stuff that I've seen and seems to work for me. Just awaiting the send transaction. I found some scenarios where that doesn't pan out as well. Like it doesn't actually, may just be a little bit of like unresolved like promises or whatnot, but sometimes not getting the correct updates. It's not updating on the front end and the UI as expected. So I just decided to follow this approach, and I've had the most success with it. So why does it keep doing that? Oops. It's really about it. So we're going to try all this stuff, and we're going to console log confirmed TX, and hope all goes well. Otherwise we log the error, and then down here in the actual transaction to my custom on-chain program, like we're trying to hit this accept method. But now we've got this scenario where this in token ATA, am I ever updating that correctly? Let's see. Yeah, so if all that works well, so like we're able to, derive an address to use for the ATA, actually build the ATA instruction, create ATA instruction, send it off, confirm it. If all that goes well, then great. We're good. Otherwise, it'll error for us. I'll have to work on my errors in time. But then time to fetch the account. Yeah, but this time I don't have to do as much. I still think I need to do something like this, so we can update the seller in token account info. But I need to get all of its, I don't need to get all of its token account balance. And what we're going to be doing is we want to use the seller in token address as anchor, as a public key, even though the party already has that. Now, get token account balance, token amount, fetches the current balance. I feel like am I doing that? Yeah, it is balance. Even though it says balance, it says it's going to return an RPC response and context. I see. Which will have the amounts. Fine. Now, that said, can I set, what am I passing here? Can I set the seller in token ATA equals seller in token account info? And what do I have here? I've got value. That's not going to be, I wonder if context, what do we have here? Slot, type of, I mean, I know what technically I don't really need this account info. but it would be nice to kind of confirm that it like goes through. I mean, I was just trying to think. I could consider instead doing, let me see if I've got this right. If I'm looking at my, so if they can find an existing token, they're going to do this stuff, and they'll set the ATA to its pub key. If they can't, then we have to go through the process of deriving an address and creating the ATA, sending it all off and confirming. That should work. If that works, then at the very end, then what? Then that means that the ATA that we already have, like this seller in token address, should work. Yeah? So what I could do is just, where's my end of my try? Yeah, okay, it's right here. My formatting's a little. Set seller in token ATA. No need to fetch data since we just need the ATA. And otherwise, if it didn't make it to this point, then it would have failed. Like the error would have been caught and it would have complained. So I can now do seller in token ATA equals seller in token address, something like that. Yeah. And I'm telling it here. Not seeing any complaints. Can't hurt. As anchor 3 public key. Can't imagine. That can't hurt. So this is a bit easier. Still same kind of thing. I've got to go through and manually build up this instruction, etc. But the one of them will be like using for the buyer in token is a bit more. It's a bit more involved because I have to also update the user store with the correct values, which are then kind of used to pass in and build all this. And that I've learned through some iterations that setting, using just a single store instead of two separate stores, like a buyer and seller, like I first started. Using a user store is good, but you have to, I have to really completely reassign and update that single user store, those values, directly inside my handlers for these instructions. And the app is pretty simple. I have create an escrow, accept an escrow, and cancel an escrow. So I only have like 3 main instructions that I'm using. So the buyer in, when they don't have an ATA, we've addressed that. And that seems to work. Now we're trying to do from the seller's point of view, but the only thing that we need from the seller is just the actual public key of their ATA. So I feel as if we're kind of at a good spot. So if I recall what the heck I did, I believe this is the buyer wallet. This is the buyer wallet, and what it's going to pay is the W token. The seller wants this amount in W token, but it doesn't have a W token ATA. So let's see. Yeah, it didn't work. Type error, cannot read properties of undefined. Reading pub key. PDA 293. Yeah, well, why is it going? Oh, you know what? What is this? I don't need. I already have. Did I accidentally add like seller in token ATA? Let's see. I've got one there. One there. One there. Okay. Creating it up top. This may or may not work. Like I'll almost like try this. Yeah. Is escrow available? Escrow should be available. Yeah, it's got details and such. What is going on? Cannot read properties of undefined. Yeah. I'm trying to see, like, this is, if this is undefined, then what the heck? Like, it should not have even made it into here, is what my concern is. Like, it just shouldn't have made it in here, right? So I'm surprised I'm not catching this. Like, it tries to do that. Else, oh shit. You know what? Yeah, that's not right. I've messed up my logic a little bit here. So it tries to do that. Else, oh no. So in this case, there is no ATA. So this is going to be like undefined. It doesn't know what to put here. It's going to go like that's undefined. And if they've got it, great, set it. Else, what do I gotta do? Else, I feel like I need to. Maybe I do indeed actually need to grab the like nothing worked. Like maybe I need to don't need the, maybe this is wrong, because maybe I need to actually set. Maybe I do need to, just for, I don't think that really matters though. Seller and token account info, even if I went through and I waited and I just did this whole like workspace connection, get token account balance. Yeah. I mean, even if I did this seller in token address as anchor.web3.public key. Even if I did that, I can't even get the seller in token. I don't have anything. Yeah, I don't have anything. Doesn't do anything for me, really. I don't think that's gonna change one damn thing. I don't think it's gonna change anything. If I go back, you know, click into it, kind of everything should be there. Escrow store has some values. It's not nulls. User store, what do we got? User store. This is again the buyer. They're gonna get 0.5 of, I think it's like the X token. Doesn't have any mint, but we have the decimals. These are all stuff like the in token raw amount. I think these things are from, see, this is where the user store is not, it's got part seller, part buyer data. It's only when I hit this that it does some stuff. Now, what did we do? What did we do? We've run through, done user store out token mint, buyer out token mint, like we have why would let me see. Seller. This is really like seller in token account found. And I'm going to log this one, seller in token account, because it's kind of strange. Oh, it's asking me to reconnect. But it's kind of strange, right? Like it shouldn't make it past that. So now we're logged back in. Shouldn't make it past. It shouldn't hit this because this account does not exist. Workspace connection, get parsed. We throw in a wallet address and the actual mint address. That should not work. So let's see. Yeah, it's showing seller in token account found. But there's no value. Oh, it's an object. Okay. Slightly different than the buyer side, because the buyer side was trying to do, it's a different function call. And plus I was also just part of the buyer side things for in token ATA was looping through the, looping through the array of token accounts in the wallet. So that's a little bit different. So here what I need to do is if seller in token account info dot say value, which is an array, yeah, or no, is it parsed account token data, what the heck does this equal? So I'm trying to read, like, it's a value. Okay, thank you. Value is an array. Value is an array, and it is, yeah. So what I'll do is dot length, maybe greater than 0. That should not work. So like, we go and fetch this stuff, this data, using the get parsed. Can't find it. So it checks the value, which is an array. And it's a property that is an array of objects, which is super helpful. It's got like all the nice, good data on it. But if that is greater than 0, at least has 1, then we can grab that account. I feel like that's the difference. So let's see. Let me go. Let's go back and do this one more time from this side. Now this is the buyer. Escrow store has some stuff. User store is going to be iffy, but escrow store has it. It knows the buyer. It's not the main authority on the escrow. Let's give this one more try. Okay, we're paying for account creation. So this is the buyer helping the seller, creating the seller's ATA. They may not like that. May not like that. I don't know. Hit approve. Oh, yeah, cool. It's going to work because I've got a pop-up on mine. Separate tab. Let me see if I can. Oh, it's a full screen thing. Anyway, it's Soulflare, and it's showing the transaction fee plus the 2 tokens minus from this account, from the buyer's account, minus 0.8 of one token plus 0.5 in the other token. I'm going to hit approve, and boom. Look at that. I think that just worked. So, yeah. So looking good. I'm excited. I have to test this out a bit more, but I think we are officially good to go. 0.5, yeah. Now I got the token. All right. To continue, we'll have to clean this up a bit, but looking good. Everything's looking good so far, but I want to test the scenario where both sides of the trade don't have an ATA for one of the tokens getting exchanged. So where we're having to create an ATA for the seller as well as creating another ATA for the buyer. I think I'll feel a bit better about all these new additions if that can run successfully. So in my setup, as part of the setup, is I have this mint all tokens. When we look at it, we're actually minting X and Z tokens to the seller and Y and W to the buyer. So as the seller has Z, and so we're going to have to use these new tokens. So the seller is going to use the Z token, which is the 5BJ token here, it's going to pay out in Z, but it wants W in return. So if we find the W token, this is what the seller wants in exchange. So I'm going to go ahead and put that there. So that's the W token. The 5, this token, this represents Z. And so the seller wants to pay out, say, let's just do 1 Z for how much W? Let's go for 1.25 W, okay? So a little bit higher amounts. So what this means is that to accept this escrow, this exchange, the seller is going to have to get a WATA created, and the buyer will pay W and receive Z tokens, but again, they don't have those ATAs, so the buyer is going to have a Z ATA, Z token, associated token account created. So this should test both sides of it. So if I hit initialize, and we do all that, get the ugly UI, but here's our escrow. I click into it. I clicked into it as the buyer, can cancel. I don't want to do that. Instead, I'm going to change my wallet to Solflare, and this is probably going to prompt me. Yeah, let me get my pass. Yeah, and get this password. And there we go. So now the buyer side, this is my other dev wallet, has been connected, and yeah, so let's see. In theory, this should work. We have an escrow. It's got some data. That's helpful. It's got all the escrow account, and we have the tokens from the buyer's wallet. So let's hit accept and see what we see. All right, so clearly there's going to have to be some fees and rent paid to initialize and create these ATAs, and as it currently is, I have the buyer doing all of that. So created that transaction. I got another pop-up, very similar, same price, 0.002 Sol. And now, cool. So it looks like it's created both of the ATAs involved, and now it's doing the actual transaction where, remember the 5BJ, this represents the Z. So the seller was paid 1 Z token. In exchange, they wanted this W token, which is 8DDD. So from the buyer, they're paying out. And the fact that stuff is popping up from Solflare with all those details is a good sign. And transaction is successful. Yeah. So the UI changes, come back, and now as the buyer still, I'm not sure. The default form goes to Sol. I wonder if that's still the case if they only have one. I think this is another issue, like kind of updating some of these UI elements, but the hard stuff seems to be taken care of. So if I go to the 5BG again, or BJ is the Z token. So I click into that as the buyer. Now has 1, which is right. In that time we just exchanged 1. Now the 8DDD, it's minus. It had 3, and now it's 1.75. So it was deducted correctly. So these are looking pretty good. If I go to Sol again, now it still has 1. Okay. Yeah. So I feel like that's good. I mean, that scenario we just tested where both sides of the trade don't have some sort of associated token account needed. So we have correctly added, where did I put it? The logic to do this sort of to create these ATAs as needed. So I'm going to split this. We have for the seller, move this up to the top. So from the seller, we have the seller in. This is the potential account that they don't have. It's looking, it's all this code, and there are some similarities. Whereas for the buyer in token, obviously the buyer must have the out token, what they have to pay to accept the escrow. Otherwise, that just won't work. But yeah, so here we are, basically manually implementing the get or create associated token account function. Yeah, looking pretty good. I feel like we're pretty good. Couldn't call that function directly like we could in our test because we don't have like the access to like the actual key pair needed for the legit signing. So we have to build it a little bit differently. But yeah, so we can mark that one off. I feel like we've added that feature. Let's see, 90, done. So now that that is good to go, I feel like there's some handle scenario when they, yeah, now it's obviously I got to continue cleaning up the UI, and then in terms of an escrow for SPL tokens, for other SPL tokens, including NFTs, I feel like we're getting there. That functionality seems to be getting in place. The issue of trading SOL token, native tokens for SPL tokens, that is a bigger beast. So we'll get to that in time. But yeah, pretty good.